In my experience, the best way to create corporate video communications is to make them entertaining. You have to engage your target audience in order to make successful video communications. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you a video production genre that achieves just that. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Ramblings of a Mediocre Filmmaker with me, Mark Knight. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a genre of films called corporate drama.
This isn't going to be an issue, is it?
It's not a problem at all.
Corporate drama is a genre of films that uses fictional storytelling and production techniques traditionally found in film and TV to fictionally represent the real-world challenges, behaviours and attitudes of a business to engage and educate their internal audiences.
You've got to understand, I wasn't responsible. Then why are you so scared?
Now, corporate drama can be used for a variety of subject matters and topics, but in my experience, I've seen the biggest successes when I've applied it to communicating safety messages that have been designed to create safer work environments and build positive, progressive safety cultures.
I mean, it's his work environment, his tools. He should have made sure that Barry's working safely.
The hard part was deciding which lucky admirer would become the object of my desires. There were so many to choose from.
Now, I'm not a safety professional, but surely it's the goal of every safety team to create a culture in your business where everyone cares and understands why safety is the #1 priority, and they proactively contribute to maintaining and creating that culture. Surely that is the ultimate goal, right? Well, if you are a safety professional who's nodding along in agreement there, stick around to find out how using corporate drama could help you achieve your safety goals. For everyone else who doesn't have safety in their job title, you should stick around too, because whilst health and safety might not seem like a hotbed of filmmaking activity, I can guarantee you it has been the catalyst for some of my most creative and effective video projects. One of the most noticeable things about my back catalogue is the amount of work I've created that could be classified as health and safety videos. Now, the general perception of safety videos is not great. They are often regarded as low quality necessities where the audience is forced to watch them rather than choosing to watch them. Essentially, they are the ultimate tick box exercise. But my experience of making health and safety films has been very different. Creating health and safety content has given me a freedom to experiment with filmmaking that I would have struggled to achieve anywhere else. And what I've learned is that by applying quality storytelling with high production values gives your safety communications a far greater chance of achieving the project's goals. In the last 15 years, I've made health and safety communications for companies across numerous sectors, on a variety of subject matters, and in an array of visual styles. From the actuality of tree felling in the Highlands, end of season pitch invasions at football grounds, and mining operations 1 kilometre underground, to Tim Burton inspired animations and accident recreations in power stations, my health and safety portfolio is an eclectic collection of video solutions. So in this film, we'll be defining what a corporate drama is, how I started making films in this niche, and explaining the benefits and challenges of using this style to create corporate video communications. Let's get started. Now, the definition of what a corporate video is has become blurred over recent years, but it could perhaps be best described as any type of video or film content created for non-advertisement purposes that is commissioned by a business, company, corporation, or organisation. Corporate drama is a subgenre of corporate video that uses actors to tell fictional stories, most often, in my experience, for internal educational purposes. Corporate drama productions look to replicate the production techniques and storytelling of film and TV dramas, while simultaneously incorporating a business communication requirement. This duality of needing to be both educational and entertaining is the defining characteristic and main challenge of making corporate drama productions. Well, I started out in post-production facilities before moving into advertising and TV commercials, and then I had a brief stint in actual TV production before I found myself running a video department for an events and training agency. It was here that I found the perfect conditions to experiment and develop my filmmaking skills. In my new role, I was brought a variety of different projects for recognisable blue-chip clients and saw an opportunity to establish myself in the rapidly evolving sector of corporate video. My approach to filmmaking at that time was to use whatever solution was necessary to create the best possible video. Documentary, motion graphics, short-form storytelling, and animation were all used to create unique and effective video solutions. My ethos at the time was to improve with every project, to make something that I was proud of every single time, and to push the boundaries of what corporate video communications could be. The idea being that if I succeeded in creating quality, then the client would succeed in engaging their audience, and my company would have succeeded in achieving the client's brief. The outcome being that we get the chance to do it again for someone else, and hopefully with a bigger budget. And that approach worked. Within a couple of years, I was creating work that I'm still proud of to this day. Especially the documentary and animation projects that I created early on in my corporate film career. However, at that time, the one area that I felt that I wasn't achieving in was the live action fictional storytelling. And then the Toyota job turned up.
Morning.
Morning, mate. You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. Where's Barry?
So recently, I've been using the Toyota film Where's Barry to promote my own filmmaking ethos of same but different, and also to demonstrate my skills making safety video communications. In relation to this film, I'm using Where's Barry because it was the first time that I made a quality piece of corporate drama.
You thought you were untouchable. And I knew then that what we had between us wasn't over. It's just a different game we were playing.
And in my opinion, it was successful for 3 reasons. 1, it used creative storytelling techniques to tell an engaging fictional story that effectively conveyed a business message in a compelling and surprising way.
Who am I to resist?
2, it represented characters, locations, behaviours and situations that the audience could relate to and could subsequently be used as training materials to find solutions to real-world issues.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
3, it had an entertainment factor that extended its reach beyond the intended audience to promote the company's brand, identity and values. To put it simply, it ticked all the boxes. A high-quality, entertaining video that achieved the client's goals. The Toyota job started a phase of my career where I made a lot of corporate dramas, many of which went on to win international awards. So the following insights into the effectiveness of corporate drama as a genre aren't based on a solitary project, but a catalogue of work spanning many years. And these experiences have given me an insight and understanding of the conditions that are necessary to make the investment into a corporate drama worthwhile. Corporate drama is a story that is situated in a business environment that has been created to educate an internal audience or to change the culture of that business. To effectively educate or change the culture of your business, you need to engage your audience in your story. To make that story engaging, you're gonna need some drama, which could best be described as an event or circumstance that is exciting, emotional, or unexpected. It's a very broad definition. For example, I could argue that films such as The Devil Wears Prada or Aliens are corporate dramas masquerading as box office entertainment.
Miranda Priestley's the editor-in-chief of Runway.
You see, I believe a learning and development specialist could easily create a training program on the subject matter of equality and diversity, leadership, or building a positive business culture by using The Devil Wears Prada as their training resource.
That I can't even talk about.
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
Did someone eat an onion bagel?
In the same vein, I reckon a clued up health and safety professional could easily create a safety training resource using James Cameron's sci-fi epic Aliens as its source material.
Just tell me one thing, Burke. You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out.
That's the plan.
The importance of risk assessments.
Hold on a second, there's something.
Just get up here.
I'm in. Ramp closing.
Teamwork and trust.
Can I finish?
No, there's no way.
Ripley, you wouldn't be going in with the troops. I can guarantee your safety.
The importance of correct PPE. Clear lines of communication.
Looks like the new lieutenant's too good to eat with the rest of us, Grants.
You never said anything about an android being on board. Why not?
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Safety is our #1 priority.
This installation has a substantial dollar value attached to it.
They can bill me.
I mean, it literally writes itself. But back in reality, no business is going to invest in a corporate drama production with that level of production or that focus on entertainment. It would be interesting if they did, but it's not going to happen. So therefore, you need to tell smaller, more achievable stories that are bespoke to the business in question. And you need to keep the audience's engagement by finding the drama in those stories. That is why, in my opinion, corporate drama works best when used for communicating health and safety, because health and safety can bring the drama. Now, it is possible to make a corporate drama based on subject matters other than safety. I've personally made several for customer service and equality and diversity training resources, but you need to find the drama in the situation to create the engagement. This is easy for health and safety because the worst case scenario, and what the training is probably looking to avoid, is severe injury or death. Hence, just like how every heist film ever made, from Ocean's 11
You think we need one more?
to Home Alone to Die Hard, includes a robbery, every corporate drama for health and safety includes an accident.
Hello, yeah. There are 2 people in the car.
Everything went black, and then I woke up here.
Using corporate drama for health and safety training communications allows you to tap into the behavioural aspects of creating a strong safety culture, because telling stories asks people to think about what they are doing, why they are doing it, and what the possible outcomes might be of those decisions. And this ties nicely into the second requirement that you need in order to make a successful corporate drama production. Corporate drama works best when you are trying to develop a culture and affect people's behaviours. Drama brings characters to life who can portray attitudes, challenges, and conflicts to showcase a range of problem-solving techniques and strategies.
Unfortunately, due to the severity of the situation and your failure to ensure a safe working environment in line with policy and procedure. I have no other alternative but to terminate your contract of employment on the grounds of gross misconduct, with immediate effect.
These can then be critically evaluated by the audience and applied to real-life situations. In the case of the Toyota project, the problem that they wanted to address was the noticeable increase in minor safety infractions. This included actions like not adhering to walkways and not wearing the correct PPE, which hadn't resulted in any direct incidents but were negatively affecting the safety culture. The film's goal was to portray the possible ramifications of this poor culture and the accumulative effect of these behaviours.
Lionel will be back up in a minute. Where's Tom?
I don't know. I believe for a corporate drama production to positively affect a company's culture, the production needs to take place within a training framework. This is because people will relate to characters and perceive situations in different ways. Therefore, you will need to clarify those messages for the intended audience. That is why corporate drama is best used in conjunction with a training scenario, so that the viewers can be guided to the desired outcomes and conclusions. This could be through a facilitator at a live event, a trainer in a classroom setting, or a digital tutor for an online training program. Back in the days of DVDs, my corporate drama productions would always be accompanied by a handbook that outlined a basic workshop so that people could run their own training sessions. In the case of Where's Barry, the Toyota safety team initially approached my company to design and facilitate a training event. Part of my colleague's solution to this brief was to use video, hence my involvement. This ability to offer training and video production services from one business was beneficial to the client because it meant that they didn't have to manage two separate suppliers and they could guarantee that we were going to provide them with a unified solution.
Good shot, Jace.
Cheers.
Our familiarity enabled us to identify the Toyota project as an opportunity to push the boundaries of our services, safe in the knowledge that we'd created similar projects together before.
Come on, Rory. Take out the sandwich and stick it next to the hole.
Having a sole provider of training and video production services is a unique situation, but that pre-existing relationship was integral to the success of the project. Ideally, you want a training team who understands how to use video in designing their training packages, and on the flip side of that, you want a video production team who understand how to embed the training messages in their filmmaking. That level of understanding is vitally important in creating successful corporate drama productions. Corporate drama productions need to be equally entertaining and educational. For the educational aspect, you need a capable training team to make sure that your project is a success. For the entertainment side of things, you need a video supplier that is capable of making high-quality drama productions. Additionally, that video production partner would also be experienced at creating training resources. What this means of being able to create compelling drama entwined with an educational message is that it's very hard to achieve. It took several years of practice for me to get the correct blend. Developing all the skills necessary to make a drama takes time. Developing the ability to creatively interpret a business brief takes time.
Blimey, love. What have you done to yourself?
You can talk sitting there like a small country.
Therefore, finding a filmmaker who can do this well is hard. Those who can do it will most likely come with a hefty price tag. And those that can't prove that they can do it, well, they'd just be considered a risk. In my opinion and experience, corporate drama productions are best used in medium to large-sized businesses. I'm talking about hundreds, preferably thousands of employees. As we've established, corporate drama uses the production techniques of film and TV, and that requires a lot of skills and processes. Hence, it is a costly endeavour. On a feature film or a TV drama, these costs are put into context by the box office numbers or the TV viewing figures. Successes make money, either through box office receipts or commercial advertising revenue. A corporate drama doesn't have these metrics to validate whether it is a success or whether it represents value for money, because it has been created for a business communications purpose, not an entertainment purpose. Therefore, to evaluate the success of a corporate drama production, you need a different metric, one based on the cost of educating the client's workforce. I believe that an educational cost per employee is the metric that you should be using to properly evaluate whether your corporate drama production is a success. And here's how I'd explain it.
I know you want me, just like I want you.
The Toyota film Where's Barry could be classified as a successful project for many reasons. It has innovative storytelling, high production values, was delivered for a bargain price, and won numerous awards. But if you look at it from an educational cost per employee metric, there's a different story. Where's Barry was created for a one-off event for 300 people. Cost £10,000 to create, and as far as I'm aware, was never used again. Therefore, the educational cost per employee was £33.33, which is quite high when compared to the relatively low overall production budget for the entire project.
My name is Paula Harrison, and I've worked for SSE Lighting Services for 12 years.
Now compare this to a project I made for energy provider SSE. This film premiered at a leadership conference to 800 delegates and was then rolled out to the 13,000 strong UK workforce as part of an internal training programme. It cost £40,000 to make, meaning it had an educational cost per employee of £2.90, which is cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Tim hadn't really had much of a relationship with his dad. Seen him maybe once a year since he was at school.
Corporate drama productions are an internal communication strategy that large businesses should be using because of the lower educational cost per employee that they can get from having such a big workforce. It's also worth noting that the educational cost per employee can be lowered even further by using the corporate drama production for inductions for new starters and external suppliers. What I've learned across all the projects that I've worked on is that it is the client who is in control of the success of the project. That is because initially they're in charge of choosing the video supplier they work with, so they need to get that right from the very get-go. But it doesn't stop there, because the external supplier is only capable of achieving success for the client if the client supports them in their endeavours to achieve the client's brief. They need to act as the conduit between the business and the external supplier, and a failure to accept this role can prove to be a stumbling block. Fortunately, this is a rare occurrence in health and safety projects because 9 times out of 10, a safety client is going to be passionate about creating a safe working environment. This passion means that they are often happy to go the extra mile in doing what is necessary to aid the project. This is exactly what happened on the Toyota job. From the start, our client Bryn was enthusiastic, uber enthusiastic about the whole project and was willing to do whatever he needed to help us get the project over the finish line. Undoubtedly, there are numerous factors that contribute to whether a video production is successful or not. But in my experience, having a cool, collaborative client who's enthusiastic about getting the project over the line and it being as good as it possibly can be helps enormously. So when commissioning video projects for your business, you need to realise that whilst the onus of the video production quality is on the external supplier, you as the client are responsible for setting the groundwork that enables that project to be as good as it possibly can be. Essentially, if you're not excited and passionate about the project that's being created to achieve your business goal, then why would anyone else care about it? Corporate dramas are exceptional ways to engage internal audiences on subject matters that shape a business's culture. But they are not a video solution that is suitable for every occasion. They are a difficult genre of filmmaking to master and are typically more expensive than other video solutions. Therefore, in my opinion, there are 5 things that you need in order to create a successful corporate drama production. 1. A subject matter that lends itself to dramatic storytelling. 2. The support of a strong training team with the ability to effectively distribute the training across the business. 3. An experienced video production partner with a strong track record of making corporate dramas. 4. A client that understands their importance to the success of the project. 5. Is a large business able to afford the cost of production and has a large enough workforce to drive down the educational cost per employee metric. Now, a lot of the projects that I've created that could be classified as corporate dramas, I've made as safety communications for renowned companies that you would recognise both nationally and internationally. And with that experience, I have a much more succinct definition for the type of business that should be using corporate dramas to communicate with their internal workforces. And that would be any company that has ever said that safety is their number one priority or has had a 0 accidents objective.
The modern company says that safety is their number one priority, but is it? In an economic climate of fierce competition and survival of the fittest, do managers really put safety ahead of everything else?
Basically, if safety is high on your business agenda and you meet the requirements previously stated, you should be using corporate drama productions to engage with your workforce, to change behaviours and build positive safety cultures, where everyone understands their role and everyone proactively works to maintain those safe working environments. Now, it's undeniable that creating corporate drama productions comes with a lot of work and it takes time and it's a big commitment. But the outcomes of doing it well far outweigh those costs. And in my opinion, if you say that safety is your number one priority and you're not exploring all the ways to engage your audience in safety messages, then it sort of makes a fallacy of that statement. If you're not doing all you can to bring your audience along on the journey to create better working environments, then you can't really say that safety is your number one priority, in my opinion. So if you work in safety and you're interested to find out how corporate drama production could work for your business, then drop me a line in the comments below or contact me directly and we can continue this conversation. That's everything for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been educational and entertaining, just like a good corporate drama should be. And I'll see you again next time on this.